Hello and a warm welcome to another episode of South Central with me, Jude Sannith. This is India's first and only business news bulletin to take stock of key news developments from South India and add perspective to them through a series of in-depth analysis, interviews and ground reports. Over the next half hour, we'll bring you the most comprehensive run-through of everything making news in the region, from markets, boardrooms and within political circles. But first, the headlines. 867 out of 1,179 MOUs signed in Tamil Nadu since 2021 have turned into actual investments on the ground, and 35% of these projects have turned operational, says the Tamil Nadu Industries Department, as the government takes stock of its MOU conversions. Ahead of assembly polls in the state, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin confirms that the DMK-Congress alliance is well and truly intact, but rules out any possibility of power sharing even if the coalition returns to power this year. Shops, establishments, schools and public transport comes to a grinding halt in Kerala as a strike called by central trade unions against new labour codes and trade deals hits the ground today. As Puducherry Chief Minister N. Rangasamy presents the state's interim budget, members of the opposition drown out the Chief Minister's speech, accusing the government of being complicit in a medical procurement scam. And the long-awaited restructuring of the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation is complete. The city will have 3 separate corporations that now lie within its outer ring road. A top story first. Tamil Nadu's Industries Department has taken stock of MOUs netted since 2021. The state has said that 867 out of the 1,179 MOUs signed in this period have converted to investments on the ground, which translates to a net conversion of just over 73.5%. Industries Minister TRB Raja said that the state's committed investments have totaled to 12.37 lakh crore rupees, which in turn has led to employment generation to the tune of 36.52 lakh jobs. The findings were made as part of the state's Ink to Impact Conclave, the industry department's brainchild to showcase not only the state's investments but conversions from proposed investments to projects on the ground. The showcase itself is crucial to Tamil Nadu just ahead of assembly elections in a few weeks from now. The state, remember, is hoping to capitalize on its reported progress in growth and investments, because only a few weeks ago, the principal opposition in the AIADMK had questioned the Tamil Nadu government's conversion of MOUs or proposed investments. So the government's investment scorecard, as it's calling it today, is believed to be the state's reply to the criticism. Staying with news from Tamil Nadu, speaking on behalf of the DMK, the state's Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has ruled out any power sharing formula with the Congress should the alliance return to power later this year. Speaking at an event recently, Stalin said that Tamil Nadu would in fact not accept a coalition government and that the need for power sharing would not even arise. He, however, maintained that the DMK-Congress alliance was in fact intact and that any reports suggesting a rocky relationship between both parties were in fact false. In the last few months, remember, multiple leaders in the Congress's Tamil Nadu unit have been clamoring for greater representation in the state government and a more meaningful role in the seat-sharing pie. There have in fact also been reports that the Congress is gravitating towards actor Vijay's outfit, the Tamilnaga Vetri Karagam, as a means of bargaining with the DMK. The DMK on its part is expected to hold seat-sharing talks with all its allies, including the Congress, on the 22nd of this month. Moving to a South Central exclusive next, after years of birthing and nurturing engineering-heavy startups, IIT Madras is all set to launch a deep tech fund of its own. Launched in partnership with Unicorn India Ventures, the IIT Madras Unicorn Frontier Fund will see both organizations set out to raise 600 crore rupees to invest in IP-led engineering-heavy startups in robotics, space tech, defense and semiconductors, among other sectors. In an exclusive chat with South Central, IIT Madras Research Park's Group CEO Natarajan Malupillai told me that an average first check size of 8 to 10 crore rupees will be coupled with patient capital and be some of the hallmarks of the fund. Here's more from their conversation.
This is a next step in our evolution, right? For the longest time, we've been about innovation. We've been about bringing research to market, commercialization. We have about 525 plus startups so far. And this is about taking it one step further, right? We have a lot of fabulous startups who are in the really deep tech, right? As deep tech as you can think of, from semiconductor, quantum, climate sustainability, EV, mobility, health tech, biotech, all of that. And we've noticed some of the brilliant companies will need access to more funds to grow, right? These are deep tech by design, is capital intensive, and it also takes longer time. So we said there's a need for patient capital, and there's a need for timely capital, both to enter and exit. So it's important that we provide that. That way, we bring in more role models, right? Which enables us to grow all the way up, get to IPO soon, and which, more importantly, more than the companies that succeed, this becoming a role model for the entire ecosystem, right? We already have 100 plus companies that we incubate every year, all deep tech companies, and we want to create a more of a movement in terms of entrepreneurship in deep tech. We believe this will help us get there, right? This will create more and more entrepreneurs wanting to pursue deep tech, and we'll talk in more detail about what this means. Right. But this fund is a necessary step which will see through the journey for them, but also create a bit more of a wider funnel for people to come in.
Absolutely. Let's break that down bit by bit, but let's start with a very important point that you made, patient capital. Are we talking 10 plus years of a timeline to go about curating these companies and looking at funding them? Just break down that timeline for me in terms of the funding itself. What periods are we looking at really?
Sure. I mean, so patient capital is a term that's been in vogue most in the impact space, right? Where commercial capital doesn't quite kick in. We look for catalytic capital, starting from grants to, some other impact investments and so on. But I think in this deep tech space, what we're talking about is first recognizing these are hard to solve problems, right? This requires deep innovation, science, engineering, technology with R&D type setup equipments, high-end scientific equipments as well as personal, trying to work on it for long periods of time to get past the science process, coming to the engineering process, then manufacturing before it go to market, right? So all this will take time, right? It requires several iterations of it and so on before you're able to do a prototype and be able to get a paid pilot and then a bit more commercial money coming in. So an entrepreneur will need support during this time frame, right? To be able to run the business, be able to invest in the right equipment, be able to bring in the right kind of scientists and engineers to evolve this idea into something that goes to market. So we've seen this can take anywhere between 4 to 7, 8 years, right? And there could be outliers on both sides of it. So this fund itself is likely to be 10 plus 1 plus 1, right? We think 10 is a good period and there are opportunities to extend beyond it. So between the time period, we should be able to take enough of these companies and, show an exit path or be able to scale and, get to significant sustainable revenues for them.
Absolutely. So break down the numbers for me, if you will. 600 crore rupees is what we're talking about with a 400 crore rupee green shoe option. Is that how it is?
Yes.
If you could just help me understand what it's all about and how will the green shoe option kick in?
So, I mean, broadly again, as we get to finalizing this, we'll know as we go to the markets and do the fundraising and all that, but we think we can easily touch the 600 crore number based on interest that we've heard from, alumni, some of the well-wishers of the ecosystem, people who care about deep tech and were familiar with what IIT Madras Research Park Incubation Cell, all of it has done over the years. So we think that's a number, and we think that gives us enough of a corpus to work with a meaningful set of companies. I mean, two things. One is we want a good basket of 25, 30 companies that we want to work with, but we're also thinking about a slightly higher ticket size, right? One of the problems that we have is taking a limited funds and giving very small allocation to several companies, and none of them are able to cross a threshold in terms of being able to scale up and go after commercial capital, right? So what we want to do here is make a meaningful capital available to them. That way, they're not thinking about fundraise every 1 year. This gives them enough of a runway, maybe about 2 years, 3 years or so, to be able to get enough of a product sharpness that customers would want and be able to then survive and the revenues generate from it. That becomes attractive for big players to come in and invest as well, right? So that's the whole idea of how we're thinking about it in terms of the size of the fund itself and allocation to each company.
Right. So what kind of ticket sizes are we looking at in terms of funding itself? Between 8 to 10 crore rupees, I'm given to understand, for the first check. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. So we're looking at about 8 to 10 crores. I mean, again, depending on the actual company, that number might go a little bit down, up, depending on how much they can absorb as well. And each investment decision will be based on that particular company, what the need is, and so on.
Right.
But we are thinking it is that magnitude that we're talking about. Somewhere between 6 to 10 crores is the initial investment we're looking to make, and there'll be follow-ons as well. And when we find companies that hit our milestones that we're talking about, have a good growth path, getting proven pilots or prototypes and so on, they're ready to scale, then we'll be able to back them up. And we'll also bring in co-investors, right? Because it's not going to be us doing this alone. We certainly, both within the IIT Madras ecosystem as well as Unicorn, who's going to be the fund manager, we have quite a well-established partnership in the ecosystem as well, who will join us for co-investing, given alignment and thesis and deep tech orientation, all of that.
Right. So you talk about co-investors. Who are the ones who have these synergies on board with them with regard to the intent that you bring to the table? Patient capital, I'm sure, is one of the key deciding factors of who is not just investment worthy, but investor worthy as well, so to speak. So where do the synergies line up, and who do you think these co-investors might be who will probably share the same vision as you?
I think there's several of them. I'm not going to name names, but we think everybody can be, because all of these guys have taken big, bold bets to impact the ecosystem, right? I think some of them are very early stage, some of them come at slightly later stage once it fits their investment profile and what their what the investors are asking of them. So I think we have a wide variety of investors that we worked with in the past as well. We think all of them will partake in one way or the other, either in the first check that we write, some maybe in the second check that we write, depending on what the fund is that they are about. I mean, I see some of them do very early stage, and some of them are pivoting from early stage, growing into growth capital. So depending on the fund that they have at their disposal to invest, we think they'll come to us, because the companies that we have here are well known to all of them, and I think they see potential. So now it's about partnering with the right people at the right step in the funnel and making them part of this India growth story.
Right. Nat, let's talk about the radar. I know for a fact that you're looking at 25 companies at the get-go as far as the first round of investments are concerned. Who are these companies? What's in the radar right now? I know you can't name names, but which direction are you looking at in terms of the companies that could perhaps be great candidates for the Frontier Fund itself?
Yeah. No, we've had a great track record over the last few years in terms of interest in coming and incubating with us. And some of the sectors that's been hot would be around space, defense tech, climate and sustainability, a lot of EV components, battery technologies, certainly some medical devices, quite a few now coming up in the semiconductor space as well.
Right.
And we're in the early stage of research in quantum, right? Quantum is still in the very early stage of research. We expect more companies to be coming in that space. So I think we have a wide spectrum of fields that we've been either incubating or setting up centers of excellence. We think it'll be from that pool of companies in these sectors which will merit these kind of funds that we're talking about. And we have several in the radar. So we'll let the investors, as they come and take a look at them and say what fits the investment profile that they have, the risk profile that they're looking at, which one they think is ready for growth and absorbing this capital. And we have more new companies that are coming in every month as well, right? So I think you will find, I mean, in fact, when we make the announcement in a few months in terms of disbursements, you'll begin to see a wide range of sectors and portfolio being covered as part of the investments.
Is there scope, Nat, that 600 crore rupee number seeing an upward revision of sorts? And I ask this question largely because, for the longest time, IIT Madras has prided itself on being an institute par excellence with regard to core engineering capabilities. And that's been a USP of sorts, given the fact that you have cities like Bengaluru or Hyderabad that have often fallen back on the softer aspects of technology. Core engineering and deep tech has been a hallmark of sorts when it comes to IIT Madras in these parts that we find ourselves in. Surely there is potential to do more and to do much higher in terms of funding. Do you see the scope for additional funding or for the fund to get bigger, so to speak, as time goes on?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is multi-pronged, right? One is this fund itself can become bigger. I think the other is, this is called the Fund 1, right? We will do several other funds following it. The whole idea is to establish a good proven method for a university-led research park incubation cell to be able to bridge with a professional venture capital firm and make it an integrated solution for India's deep tech growth system, right? So I think the numbers will keep revising up, right? Either as part of this fund or new funds that we create. And I want to think it's more than IIT Madras Research Park, Incubation Cell, Unicorn. I think it's more about what is good for the entire ecosystem. And I think there are fabulous institutes around us as well, who are already doing some of this. And I think it's together as a team, how do we invest in our young entrepreneurs? How do we invest in the technologies? And together, how do they present itself to what India wants to build in terms of, as we talk about strategic autonomy, in the spaces that I spoke about. I think it's about that big portfolio as a nation. And I think we all make our contributions towards building this winning set, I call, right? Which can come from any of these VC portfolios, incubators, research parks.
Right. Last question before I let you go. How excited are you about the prospect of building a deep tech hub in Chennai? I know for a fact this is one of Professor Kamakoti's favorite topics to talk about as well, on how deep tech could well be the future. And I say this largely because, like we just spoke about, Bengaluru has its own ecosystem. Hyderabad has the T-Hub ecosystem that it's building around it. And IIT, in a sense, has prided itself on its deep tech startups for the longest time, some of which have actually gone on to do quite well for themselves, both in the startup ecosystem and even as far as the capital markets are concerned. Is there the prospect of building perhaps India's first, in a sense, deep tech capital right here in Chennai, given all the activity in this space, both in terms of the technology being built here and the funding that it sees?
I think we're already there, is what I would think. I think we are certainly very, very excited, back to how you started the question. I think it's a inflection point in terms of India's deep tech story is concerned. I think we have a very good track record in terms of able to bring in both industry for the R&D centers, startups who excel in the work that they do. And with this capital coming in and enough of other capital providers nearby as well, I think Chennai is certainly distinguishing itself as a hub, right? I mean, deep tech, from the standpoint, but also adjacent to it is the manufacturing that's happening around in Chennai, design centers coming up, some of the GCCs. I think I get excited by the collective possibility of everybody playing on each other's strengths, and this becomes a magnet to be able to attract talent as well, right? And I think that, to me, we have incredible talent. There's never been any doubt about it. I think with this capital coming in, favorable policies both for the country and the state, chipping in at the right time, I think we're creating something that's very, very unique, and I think it will have far-reaching impact in terms of outcomes to the society and the economy as well.
Moving on to news from banking now, Karnataka Bank has reported a sharp increase in quarter-on-quarter provisions in its Q3 results, even as slippages have increased by 12 basis points on a quarter-to-quarter basis. Non-interest income declined 11%, while treasury income is down 12% as well. The bank is planning to focus on its agri-infra fund, self-help group lending and flexi deposit scheme, among other launches in the coming quarter. ET Now spoke to the management of the bank to break down some of these results from the third quarter. Listen in.
With regard to the increased provision, it was very much under control since Q2. Even in Q3 also, it was, as far as NPA slippage is concerned, it was very much under our control. But Unfortunately, slippage of one bulk advances, a huge advance, which has gone to slip to NPA. Because of that, the provision has to be made, provision has increased in the quarter by around 84 crores, out of which 29 crores around has gone to this particular account only. Because of that, the provision has gone up.
Staying with more news from the earnings space, TVS Supply Chain Solutions swung to profit in Q3 FY26, posting a net profit of 11.2 crore rupees compared with a loss a year ago, as revenues rose 11% year-on-year to 2,716 crore rupees. The turnaround was driven by growth in the India business and efficiency gains, with EBITDA rising sharply and margins improving. The company also flagged a strong order pipeline, pointing to sustained momentum in the coming quarters. The company, remember, is reporting a robust order pipeline of 6,300 crore rupees and a total warehousing capacity of 24.7 million square feet. The company says its major clientele continues to remain from the industrial, automotive, and tech sectors. Meanwhile, life in Kerala has come to a grinding halt today after a Bharat Bandh called by trade unions like the Centre of Indian Trade Unions, among others, saw shops, establishments, schools, and public transport infrastructure suspend operations for the day. The bandh is being observed as a form of protest against India's new labour codes, as well as the recent trade deal inked between India and the EU, as well as the proposed trade deal with the United States. Essential services like healthcare and food distribution, however, have gone about without interruption. Meanwhile, in neighbouring Puducherry, Chief Minister N. Rangasamy was met with jeers and protests within the assembly as he got set to present the Union Territory's interim budget today. The Congress in opposition has accused the government in Puducherry of being hand in glove with the recent medical procurement scam that is alleged to have caused a loss of 2 crore rupees to the exchequer in the Union Territory. Opposition members in the legislature interrupted Rangasamy's budget speech, demanding that the government take accountability for the scam. Rangasamy, who holds the finance portfolio as well, is presenting his last budget before elections are held in a few weeks from now. Meanwhile, the long-awaited restructuring of the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation is finally complete. As things stand today, the region within the Hyderabad Outer Ring Road will have 3 separate civic bodies, and they will be the Cyberabad Municipal Corporation, the Malkajgiri Municipal Corporation, as well as the now restructured Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, which now includes Old Town areas including Shamshabad, Rajendra Nagar, Charminar, Golconda, Hyderabad, as well as the Secunderabad zones. The proposed split of the once composite Hyderabad municipal body was in the works for long, owing to a long-desired overhaul of the city's local administration. 3 corporations instead of 1 could now mean more structured workflows and clearer lines of demarcation when it comes to administrative reforms within the city. Shifting focus to Karnataka next, a Congress leader in Kalburgi has come under scrutiny after a video of him brandishing what appeared to be firearms went viral on social media. In the clip, Mateen Patel, believed to be a close aide of Congress MLA M.Y. Patil, is seen arriving in a black SUV and dancing to music from the film Durandar while holding a pistol and another gun-like object. Kalburgi Police Commissioner S.D. Sharnappa confirmed that authorities have taken suo motu notice of the video and launched an investigation, including efforts to determine whether the guns are real and properly licensed.
All right.